Welcome back, everybody. This is our second episode of our off-week show, News and Rumor Roundup. I'm Todd. I'm the host of Turnbuckle Tuesdays, your twice-a-month podcast for everything pro wrestling related, whether it's history, random topics, events, news, rumors, and whatever else we can find. We do this off-week show to help limit a little bit on the podcast so we can talk about more about the history and the special topic of the day. So we're going to dive right into it. It's not going to be a long show today. Not a whole lot has happened in the course of the last week, but some very important stuff did happen. So let's get right into it. All right, we're going to start with some WWE news. Well, while I was live, it seems I need to be corrected from our last podcast. Mike Santana has indeed debuted on NXT. After Tony D'Angelo defeated Naruku in a street fight, Santana appeared in the crowd as his intro music played. Slowly, Santana made his way through the crowd until he stood on a barricade outside the ring, making eye contact with a shocked-looking D'Angelo before the show went off air. Later on in the week, it was confirmed that Santana would be changing his name to CRUZ Montana. We have been talking about this for weeks, and it has been in the news every episode, as well as the first episode of News and Rumor Roundup, that Santana, now Montana, CRUZ, would be leaving TNA and more than likely be headed to WWE, but making a stop in NXT first. This makes sense. I did not expect him to show up at AEW. I don't know how things stand between him and Tony Khan, but I know he got his, well, he didn't get his start there per se, but he was a part of LAX at AEW, and things possibly did not end well for him when he left. So I hope CRUZ Montana is successful in WWE. I have some concerns in regards to how TNA talent has been handled by WWE over the course of the last couple of years, going all the way up to and including LA Knight. LA Knight seems to not get the push that he deserves. Jordan Grace is injured and hasn't been on TV for a long time. Joe Hendry is in the mid-card and thrown in when they need a body. I'm hoping something is different for CRUZ. He is a fantastic wrestler. He's a locker room leader. And I'm hoping that the future is very, very bright for him. I would like to see anybody and everybody be as successful as possible. Moving on, the lawsuit against former WWE head Vince McMahon has taken a turn. Multiple sources are reporting that the lawsuit brought by JANEL Grant regarding claims of sex trafficking has moved from the courts to private arbitration, so a settlement is highly likely. This does bring up the question as to what will happen to Vince in the future. There is some speculation, especially online, that TKO WWE could bring Vince back into the company, but not in any real capacity of control. He would be more of a figurehead as opposed to having day-to-day operations, being in control of creative, being in control of the boardroom, roles that he had filled both as chairman, as president, and as the guy for WWF, WWE since 1983. Since TKO's formation with the buy-in of WWE, Nick Khan has remained in place as the president of the WWE, a position which he has seen significant success in, and Paul Triple H Levesque has been head of creative. It's unlikely that either will be replaced anytime soon. Dave Meltzer has speculated that if Vince does return to WWE, he could be some token figurehead to bring out for big events like the Hall of Fame inductions or big stable shows like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Personally, now we're going to get into a little bit of editorial here, but personally, I hope Vince does not come back. I don't want Vince anything to do with Vince when it comes to the WWE or wrestling in general. Period. I will probably stop watching any WWE related product if he comes back. I have already decreased the amount that I watch already to just AAA and then catching up on what I need to online. I don't watch the daily product. I keep up with what I can through the dirt sheets because of all of this. That's the main reason why. And I don't like how they've handled certain talents. I don't like certain deals that they've made, going back to the Vince years and even modern deals that have been made. I'm certainly not impressed with how they've handled the Sheamus or the New Day situation. That's my 2 cents. Wrestling podcast Busted Open Radio has announced that it has joined WWE Media. WWE has taken over the Pro Wrestling 24/7 station on SiriusXM, and with that comes Busted Open Radio. Host Dave LaGreca announced this move on his X account with a rotation of co-hosts of the likes of Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer, as well as Mark Henry and a handful of others that have been on their show. This seems like a fitting move. However, it does appear that one co-host will be leaving due to the acquisition by WWE. Thunder Rosa, an AEW talent, has done segments with the show, but is believed to be leaving the show due to her commitments with AEW. But LaGreca states that WWE does not want to change the programming and tone of Busted Open Radio. Sure. So since WrestleMania 40, Busted Open Radio has kind of fallen into the shill category for supporters of WWE. And this is fine for them. Sure, whatever works. WWE getting into SiriusXM radio and controlling another aspect of media, one, is very unsurprising, and two, reeks of a means to control the narrative. They are going to try to control as much critique as possible. They don't want critiques of their organization to be as widespread as it has been. I can see certain podcasting talents within the next year leaving this station and moving back to YouTube, moving back to other ventures, possibly another SiriusXM channel. Who knows? I don't really know. I don't have SiriusXM, so I don't have to worry about listening to this. But this is very fitting for guys like LaGreca, Dreamer, and Bully Ray, because they are some of the loudest guys in the room when it comes to supporting WWE in the podcast space. Yeah, it's not great. Now, moving on to possibly even sadder news. According to Wrestling Observer's Dave Meltzer, there is talk backstage regarding Bayley's future in the WWE. The role model's contract is said to be expiring later this year, and it is being speculated that Bayley, real name Pamela Martinez, could make the jump to AEW to join her best friend Mercedes Moné in the Tony Khan-led promotion. Meltzer stressed that the only concrete thing he has been told from his sources within WWE is that Bayley has a big decision to make in regards to her future. I want to see this. I think Bayley could do really well in the women's division. I think AEW has one of the best women's divisions right now in professional wrestling. They're certainly doing more with it than they have in the last 2 years. The division has grown in the last 2 years. You have amazing champions now. You have had some really great matches. And it feels a lot like what the Women's Revolution was before the Evolution pay-per-view, when the four horsewomen of the WWE, Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky, were kind of leading the way. And then you also had Alexa Bliss. You had so many talented women at the time. Nia Jax. And then you had women coming up that were super talented as well. And that's kind of what AEW feels like right now. They're at that precipice. They're at that point where, okay, we're done with all of the shenanigans. We're now going to be taken seriously as wrestlers. We're seeing it with Tekla. We're seeing it with Willow Nightingale. We're seeing it with Maya World. Toni Storm brought the hurt when she was wrestling on a regular basis. She's been off for a while, which she needed the break anyway. JD Hater, like the sheer amount of fantastic women's wrestlers that are now in AEW from across ROH all the way up to the main roster in AEW is fantastic. And the fact that they can go back and forth is even better. Athena is probably the hardest working women's wrestler I have seen to date, outside of maybe Tekla, who does some Stardom dates, and a few of the other girls who do independent dates. But Athena works almost 2 to 3 shows a week. That's crazy, between ROH defending her women's ROH champion, because she's the forever champion. She is the modern day longest reigning champion of any company out there right now, folks. She has held the belt that she has longer than Roman Reigns held his in his most recent run as Tribal Chief before the current one. Let that sink in. She is outlasting Hulk Hogan. She's approaching Bruno Sammartino levels of length. Bruno, I think the next one is Bob Backlund, and then Bruno. And she's doing it on ROH, Collision, and Dynamite. So I think, I don't want to see everybody go to AEW, but I do think Bayley going to AEW makes sense. That's just my opinion. And in the final WWE news, it seems that a new star is being called up to the WWE main roster. Lola Vice, who recently lost both the NXT Women's Championship and the AAA Mixed Tag Championship recently. We are having a video on that loss that will be coming up soon. It'll be the next episode of After the Bell. We're going to talk about AAA Vereno de Escandalo, which she wrestled with Mr. Iguana in the mixed tag against La Hedra and Laredo Kid. But I don't want to, other than the fact that she lost, I don't want to do any spoilers. She's going to be making the jump to the main roster, specifically from what I've been reading, to SmackDown. This would make sense with her losing both titles that she had been holding and that she's known to be holding. Lola's real-life partner, Damian Priest, is also a part of the SmackDown brand, so the transition should be seamless for her. Lola's a hell of a wrestler. I hope she still does things for AAA. I've really enjoyed her presence there. She is fantastic working the AAA fans down in Mexico. She is great with that crowd and fan base. Her mixed tags with Mr. Iguana are amazing. So I really hope she continues to work for AAA as well. But seeing her on SmackDown, I think, is going to help out. It seems like a lot of directions being pushed into SmackDown from Raw. Raw used to be the strong show, and now it's kind of weak. It's not super weak, but it's definitely not as strong as it used to be. But we've got CM Punk and Cody Rhodes over there. You've got Damian Priest and R-Truth are there. Gunther's there. Nick Aldis is there. That seems to be, they're trying to make that kind of a premier show, and I can't remember who SmackDown is ran through, like who shows it. I think it might be USA Network, and I know they had made the request for CM Punk to be transitioned from Raw to SmackDown, so maybe that's part of this as well, that they're trying to build in with USA Network and NBC to have a bigger presence, because they have the deal long term with Netflix. They can fall back to Raw if they need to. I don't know. But it seems like a lot of these big time players and a lot of these up and coming stars are being positioned into SmackDown, which is fine. I'm still not going to watch. I'll catch up on everything. I hope, like I said, Lola Vice still does some AAA things. And I hope she stays healthy, because we've had some issues with NXT stars that have been called up getting hurt. I really, really hope that she stays on main roster and isn't like doing things like main event for the most of the time that she's up there, like we're seeing with Julia right now. Moving on, we are moving on to the Florida promotion All Elite Wrestling. AEW star Tay Mello, formerly known as Tay Conti, has requested her release from the company. Tony Khan, on a media call, stated that he had received the request from Mello after a match at Collision. Khan expressed surprise at the request, but stated that he does indeed plan on granting the release. It is unknown what Tay Melo's plan will be, but she has stated that she wants to step away from professional wrestling for a while. Melo's husband, Sammy Guevara, is still with AEW, mostly seen wrestling in Ring of Honor. Later on in the week, a cryptic post on Tay's Instagram account has the internet wrestling community ablaze, speculating as to whether she is truly done in the ring. We're going to have to see as time passes. Tay's partner, Anna Jay, has re-signed. They were tag team partners, and her best friend re-signed with AEW, which is great. Kind of figured that was happening when her boyfriend, Jungle Jack Perry, re-signed as well. Tay's a fantastic wrestler. She's a Brazilian wrestler. She's fantastic. Watching her grow since 2019 has been great, both as a heel and as a face. She's very, very good in the ring. She's going to fit in anywhere she can go as far as wrestling goes. I know her and Sammy have a young daughter, and she might be taking some time to be mom at home, which is great as well. I'm hoping there is no bad blood or negative emotions between her and Tony Khan. I would like to see her maybe come back home once she's done and maybe retire in AEW, whichever she decides to do so. But yeah, apparently Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Observer has stated a few weeks ago that as late as last year, Tay had been requesting her release and it had been denied. So I haven't heard anything other than him being the source for this. So I'm not 100% certain as to what's true and what's not in regards to that. But she's done now. Hopefully she's happy. Hopefully she's healthy. And hopefully she finds meaning in whatever she does next. All right. Next on the slate, it was confirmed later on in the week by her own social media that AEW star Thunder Rosa has indeed departed from Busted Open Radio after the news of the WWE acquisition of SiriusXM's Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7. In her statement, she thanked both the crew of Busted Open Radio and AEW's Tony Khan for the opportunity. Thunder Rosa was one, I think it was her and Denise were the only women's voices in that group as far as talking about wrestling. Thunder Rosa is very awesome when talking about wrestling. I love listening to her talk about wrestling. It is a pleasure to listen to her talk about wrestling. And maybe she'll do something with RJ from AEW. I'd like to see maybe her and Renee Paquette do something. That'd be really cool. Or her and Excalibur. Or her and even one of the other guys or one of the other girls from backstage. I think that would be really, really cool. And just continue talking about wrestling, wrestling news, everything else, have their own show. I think that'd be really, really cool. Thunder Rosa, like I said, is very, very smart when it comes to professional wrestling, just as a fan of professional wrestling. And it is very evident when she talks about it because she's very passionate about it. You can see that in her ring work and in her promos as well. So, it sucks that she can't be a part of something that she did kind of help build, and is leaving a group of guys that she had been working closely with. But I'm hoping that in the future, she will find other opportunities to do similar work because I think she's really, really good at it. I really do. Finally, for AEW news, the planned merger between Warner Bros. Discovery and Paramount has been put on hold, awaiting a court decision on if the merger would violate federal antitrust laws. Warner Bros. Discovery is the current distribution partner for AEW, with HBO Max as the home for AEW television and pay-per-views. This media rights deal was inked until 2027, but there isn't an option to extend into 2028, leading into another contract. AEW boss Tony Khan has expressed his support and believes that the deal will go through without issue. It is still uncertain as to how this merger could affect AEW programming in the future. We are unsure as far as what the plan would be as far as AEW's TV dealings would be, but with the development of MyAEW.com, they now kind of have a foothold online to pivot to if something were to happen. Same with, they have back episodes of Dynamite on Tubi. So they have some avenues, and Tubi is Fox owned, which is really interesting that they were able to ink a Fox deal while still on a contract for live distribution with Warner Bros. Discovery. But the Fox deal, the Tubi deal, could lead to a Fox deal, which means if something were to happen and it would fall through, or they would be cut from Paramount Warner Bros. Discovery when the merger happens, we could be seeing AEW TV on things such as maybe Fox, but more than likely FS1 or FS2 as a means to have the TV content, and they'd probably just have my AEW as their distribution network for pay-per-views. Or they'll go back to doing it like they were with other pay-per-view providers. Not 100% certain, don't know. That's all speculation, but that seems to be kind of a in the shadows backup plan that they kind of have set up, which is good. I'm glad they're thinking about it in a means of, well, if option A falls through, we need to have a strong foundation for option B so we don't fall as heavily as somewhere like TNA has in the past when they've lost their distribution and TV deals with multiple TV providers. Makes sense? Makes sense to me. And finally, we have one more bit of news to talk about. TNA is doing TNA things again. We have the release of another talent. In a very short statement put out by TNA, it seems that the promotion has come to terms with Knockout member Victoria Crawford, formerly known as Alicia Fox in WWE. The statement, which read, TNA Wrestling has come to terms on the release of Victoria Crawford effective immediately. We wish her the best in her future endeavors. Oh, she got future endeavored. Tessa Blanchard didn't get future endeavored. Sammy didn't get future endeavored. Tommy didn't get future endeavored. Victoria did. No other information is known at this time, and the story was published initially by Wrestling Observer Online. It's unknown as to if this decision was made by TNA or if Crawford had asked for her own release. Crawford has been off of TNA TV since May and was a member of the Diamond Collective faction formerly led by Tessa Blanchard. Now, I remember Alicia Fox, Victoria Crawford when she was in WWE, and there were some issues, specifically issues with substance use, alcohol. I know as of 2022, the last time I had heard anything, JR had stated that as of 2022, Victoria had been clean and sober for 3 years, which fantastic, queen. We absolutely love to see it. I hope the last 4 years it has been the same story. We fall only to get back up. If you did have a relapse, it's not the end of the world. As someone himself who is sober, I will support anybody who is going through that fight. I have friends who know this, who know who you are. And I'm really, really hoping she finds her footing somewhere. She is very talented as a singer and actress, as well as a pretty talented wrestler when she's willing to put in the work. And from everything that I've seen with her, some of the TNA stuff, she was willing to put in the work and she was doing the work. So we shall see what's next for Victoria Crawford. I believe she'll land on her feet. I think she'll end up somewhere doing something amazing, and hopefully it's very, very soon. Well, that's it, everybody. That is episode 2 of News and Rumor Roundup. We will see everybody next week, Tuesday, live on twitch.tv/TheToddFather6 for episode 4 of Turnbuckle Tuesdays. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. And if you have any questions, or if you think I missed something, or you have a correction, please let me know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see everybody next week. Bye.